Good afternoon to the entire mishpacha. My name is Rabbi Slatus. I am rabbi of Congregation B'nai B'rith Jacob in Savannah, Georgia. I was not able to attend the funeral of Mr. Herb Sanders, Chaim Ben Yisrael. I would like to just share a few thoughts, if I may. There was a book called Tuesdays with Maury. The individual had an opportunity to meet someone, sit down and speak to him on a weekly basis. I've known Herb Sanders since I came here over 40 years ago. I would speak to Herb. Herb would share with me some of his stories, always had something humorous. He had a great sense of humor. And he was a great schmoozer. Being from New York, the two of us had something in common. But when COVID came and we were all in lockdown, I began to call many people just to check in and see how they're doing and stay in touch. And I started schmoozing with Herb over the phone. And this became every other week, every 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I would say twice a month. So if I were ever to write a book, it would be twice a month with Herb. He had a smile that could disarm anyone. You could see the goodness of his character within his smile. Herb was a tall man, 6'3", maybe more. And I remember years ago when Herb would do a Hagbah, he would lift that Torah. And he did it with such pride at his wingspan. He would hold it for all to see. You could see the respect and the reverence that he had. He was there every Shabbos and Yontif. He never missed the yahrzeit to say Kaddish for parents or for whoever. Herb was a very good man. I always liked Herb. He was very easy to like. We all liked him. But I developed a very unique admiration and respect. Around 4 years ago, before the COVID, he called me and said, "Can I come see you? I'd like to speak to you." I said, "Of course." Came by the shul, sat down, and he said, "I have an issue I want to discuss." And what the issue was is not important. He said, "But there's something I don't understand what you did, why you did it, or what you're doing." Now, other people not understanding what took place easily could have found an excuse to be upset, angry with me and whatever. But that wasn't Herb Sanders. Herb respectfully, properly, in a dignified manner, he presented the issue and said, "I don't understand why you would do this." And he sincerely wanted to hear what I had to say. He wasn't coming to vent and let off steam. And I said, "Herb, let me explain." And I did. And he said, "Thank you. I have a new understanding. I now have a new perception of what happened." And I thought to myself, what a man. Anybody could have just walked around with a grudge or who knows what. That's not Herb Sanders. Herb, if he had something on his mind, he would express it. But he did so with such respect, integrity, dignity. This is a man, I said, there's a lot of substance to him. He listened, and we both listened. He was someone who was very proud of his faith. He was very proud to be Jewish. He was a person who was very interesting. I once mentioned to him that he should have been the most interesting man in the world. The things that he did, he told stories. I'm sure many of you have heard the stories, how he was a member of all 4 branches of the United States Armed Forces. the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, the Army. I still don't understand how this all came about. He enlisted in World War II. He was 17. They told him, come back when you turn 18, and he did. He was a person who was principled. He told me of an incident in which he was young, tall, young, and he wasn't afraid. And there were individuals who were openly known to be affiliated with the New York Mafia or New Jersey Mafia, same chevra. And he took a stand against them. He went in, spoke to them. He told them exactly how he felt. Most of us probably would have picked up our jackets and run the other way, not Herb Sanders. Herb understood marketing. He understood what human beings are interested in. He understood how to penetrate the human psyche. He understood human behavior. Herb might have not had a degree in psychology, but he was truly a psychologist. He came up with the idea which we call the blue light special. It was Herb who was running stores and said, why don't we open up on Thanksgiving, which was inconceivable. It was something that to open Thanksgiving, he said, yeah, let's open for a couple hours on Thanksgiving. Everybody's home. What are they going to do all day? And we know what happened with that. It became the greatest shopping day found in America, maybe the world. He could sell anything to anyone. He told me when his first wife died, he was angry with God. She was a wonderful person. He said, why her? Why not me? And he had difficulty with this. That's not easy for a person to deal with, recognize, and express. But Herb Sanders was a man. And then he said he doesn't know why. He doesn't know what he ever did to earn God's greatest blessing that he gave him, and that is meeting Sally. I'm not sure if it was the first date or the second date that he proposed to Sally, but he knew. He knew right away. He understood human beings. He could see character. He could see it. He could look into a person's eyes, look into the face, have a 5-minute conversation, and he could know that individual. His life with Sally, he told me, was heaven sent. He loved the Shabbos, the Yom Tov, the holidays, the Jewish home. Sally, he told me that you made him a better man and a better Jew. You brought happiness, contentment, fulfillment to his life. You were his life. He's a loving father, grandfather, great-grandfather. He loved the children, everyone. But without question, Sally, you were not just his partner in life. You were his heart and his soul. Herb loved and he lived to make others smile, to bring happiness. He sincerely cared. There's no question. Herb was an individual who, I could just say he was a man for all seasons. He had wisdom. He would share it. If only people would have listened. Yes, he had his stories, but I loved his stories. I heard a few of them 2 or 3 times, but each time it was with a different insight. There was something I could learn, and I learned so much from him. I really enjoyed, I cherished the conversations that we had. Last time I saw Herb, he had yard sight. He couldn't drive anymore, obviously. He had trouble getting into a car, getting out of the car. Sally, you brought him to services. He cricked in here somehow. I think Alan Lowe took him home. I volunteered to take him home, but he said, no, Alan already did it. Alan was taking him. That's how important this was, the respect for parents. I remember the respect he had for his father-in-law, Fred Rothko, how he used to take him around and help him. This was a deep-rooted respect and love. Last year, because of the COVID, many people did not come for services on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So we decided that we were going to bring, if they couldn't come to the shofar would come to them. So we went on Rosh Hashanah around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we blew shofar in various neighborhoods. And we came to Herb's neighborhood, 6401, Havisham, the Jewish ghetto. And we had a whole group of people out there. I don't know how many people, maybe 30 people, who knows how many, sitting around in their comfortable chairs. And we said the brachas, and we blew the shofar, and it was really very special. It was very, very nice. Everybody. The COVID could not prevent Jews from being Jewish. And as I was about to leave, Herb called me over. He said, Rabbi, you have no idea how special this was. This is something, and his grandchildren were there and everything. He said, this is something that people will remember for generations. This is a love, and this is a bond with Judaism and who we are. This was very special. He didn't have to say that, but that was Herb. Herb told it, he saw it, and he told it like it is. And he made me feel very good, and I really was hoping that it would be received that way. Herb perceived it. Others might have been schmoozing and this and that or whatever. Herb cut right through, and he saw the substance. He saw the spirit. He saw the soul. I spoke to Herb around 2 weeks ago, and to hear him on the phone, he really sounded fine, although I did know he was very, very ill. I said, so he said, what's going on in your family? I said, Herb, I've got my granddaughter's wedding coming up. Mazel tov to you, to the family. I said, I'll be out of town for around 4 or 5 days. Don't you do anything now, silly. He said, Rabbi, you go ahead and you enjoy that wonderful, beautiful simcha. Here's Herb, literally on his deathbed. He's wishing me well, telling me that I should enjoy my simcha. Herb Sanders was very easy to love. He loved everyone. He spoke his mind. He spoke to our hearts and souls. I'm very, very happy that I listened and I got to know him the way I did. I feel that I am a better person for knowing Herb Sanders. So to Chaim ben Yisrael, Chaim, life, ben Yisrael, son of Israel, I cannot think of a greater, more apropos name. You brought life to so many. You gave meaning to life to so many. And with great pride, you held your head up high as a son of Israel. I hope these words will provide some comfort for his beloved family, children, grandchildren, each and every one, Sally, and hopefully we'll be able to meet on joyous occasions. May you have comfort and consolation amongst all who mourn for Israel and Jerusalem.